Welcome to Beyond the Prep, a podcast dedicated to providing information and insights into the bodybuilding sport. This podcast covers a wide range of topics from finding a coach to the struggling of competing, nutrition, supplements, cost, and much more. I'll be talking with competitors so you can hear their stories, judges, coaches. If you're interested in sharing your story, send me a note at skapach40@gmail.com.
Welcome to Beyond the Prep. I'm here with Sherrie, and I'm turning the tables on her, and it's time to ask her the questions because she's had the fortune of asking some really cool people all their questions. Hi, Sherrie.
Hello.
Okay, let's dive right in. So I know that one of the first questions you always ask your interviewees is, how did they get into bodybuilding? So let's start with you. How'd you get into it?
When I was going to a personal trainer, she was talking about how she had done a show. So that was just kind of a seed in the back of my mind. And as my health took a turn for the worse, and then as I was getting better and stronger, I thought now's the ideal time to test it out and give it a shot, because my mindset had totally changed to living with no regrets. So I thought, well, let's do this. Yeah, that's how it got started. Little seed in the back of my mind.
You talk about health took a turn, but you're downplaying. You almost died.
I did. I went into complete kidney failure and had dropped 20 pounds and I was basically using a walker. And it took another 4 surgeries to get me healthier or back on track. And then another few months to just even get my strength back. And then I went through a silent stroke along with a mild stroke, and then discovered I had a heart condition through all this. So it was building one thing after another, which really took a toll on my mental capacity. Mm-hmm. So it took a lot to get back on track.
But and so for you, yeah, you did. And then some. So naturally people, have these kind of conditions and, aren't very well and near death's door. They come back, but they don't go into being this best overall bodybuilding champion like you did. I mean, talk about going from one extreme to the next. So I've always admired that about you, because you don't just do things halfway. And to me, that's very, very impressive. I love that.
Thank you. Yeah. It was very extreme.
Very extreme. Which goes into talking about how I actually know you. I was trying to do the math on this, and I think I've known you for 8 years now.
It's been that long?
I think it has.
It could be.
And I knew you way back when. I think you might have been 1 or 2 surgeries in, or maybe a little bit more. Regardless, it was just, I could just see this little spark in you that's the determination and the part of you that. So anyways, fast forward a little bit more. Not only did you become, bodybuilding queen here, and she even has a crown, folks. Not to mention the hardware she has sitting right behind her there. You also studied with me as your teacher and became a clinical hypnotherapist, and as well as a certified master life coach. Just add to your resume, And now you're on the business end of things, and you're doing so well with all of it. And I love mine and your discussions when we talk about business and doing business coaching and what that looks like for you. So you're just knocking down all kinds of barriers. What's next for you?
just continuing with the bodybuilding to get even farther yet. Give myself a few years, get that pro card. Just takes a while to build that muscle when you're older. And yeah, getting my business going with the hypnosis and the life coaching. And working with you has been a blessing because you've also guided me in breaking down my barriers and dealing with a lot of inner traumas as well, which opened up so many more doors, making me way more, what would I say, outgoing. Because a few years back, you would never ever catch me doing a podcast, let alone talk to anyone.
No.
So, yeah. So I've flourished as well.
You have. Really, really have. So when she talks, so for anybody listening, when she talks about being an introvert, I argued with you about that. I said, I don't think you're actually an introvert. I think you're just, in the nicest way possible, I think you're miserable with your life. You're not happy. So let's make it happy. And yeah, it was breaking down barriers, understanding yourself better. And I think you've come a long way. I mean, you do have a podcast. You talk to all kinds of people. You go into competition and, well, yeah, there's the part where you have to, put the tunnel vision on and just concentrate on what's coming up. You also, you're going up to people and talking to them, which I made 5 years ago. Let's be honest, that would have never happened.
Never.
And wearing a smile on a constant basis now. I love it. The podcast is just the start for you. I feel you also have a book coming out. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, that's really exciting as well. I was approached by an author to put a chapter into his new up and coming book with life coaching. And that was just amazing to be noticed by an author and then actually going to be a co-author is another, I don't know, check mark for me, I guess.
Checkmark, huge accomplishment. Let's get real, because he's quite a well-known author and he's had some really great success with his past books. So it is an honor to be able to go into his book as well.
Absolutely.
I'm excited for you.
Okay.
And I have another thing to share. Look what I have. You guys, this is Sherrie's journal. It's my daily journal, and it's got this beautiful black cover, and it's on Amazon. So just search Sherrie Kapach. I'm totally plugging you right now because I love it. It's just so great to have. And I think you should put this in all your swag bags that you give away to people that meet with you in person. Oh, that's a good idea. Hey guys, I'm advocating for you too. So
it's a good idea.
This is what I mean. You have, you're knocking down all sorts of barriers and you're just like, okay, I want to accomplish this, got it. I want to accomplish this, got it. And it's so amazing to see from where you were to where you are now. And that's what I mean. The sky's the limit for you. I'm so excited for you. So excited. Okay. I'm done enough plugging of you. I love that. I'm just so proud as a teacher and a mentor and a business coach. I'm just so proud of you. That's all. Okay. What do you notice most about being in the bodybuilding industry that maybe you didn't know before?
How well it is such a tight community that I had no idea. But when you're back there or when you're at a show, you just build friendships amongst everyone because they've all been through everything you've done. They can relate. So talking with them is it's really good to know that they can relate because there's so many out there that just can't relate when they say, when you're in prep and they ask you to go out or they're like, can't you just have one bite? And it's like, no, I choose not to, because I'm not jeopardizing all this work.
Mhm.
So it's really nice. And everybody supports everyone, even if you're on the same stage together, you're just always supportive of each other. So it's really nice to be in that environment. It's a really close-knit family because it's it's a small family in a way,
Mhm.
right?
I agree. You know what? I had the opportunity to go with you when you're first doing a whole bunch of podcast sessions, and it was in Edmonton, and it was new for both you and I. You knew the competition aspect of it. I had no clue coming in what was going to happen. So we signed up a ton of people, and it was amazing. And you're right,
Mhm.
like we got to see the bodybuilding. Hey, shout out to TNT, by the way, for thanks so much for doing that. That was amazing. And Tara, we got to see, like I got to see firsthand how they were. Like they're cheering each other on, even though they were in the competition with each other. And we saw most of the men because you interviewed a lot of men in that, and not as many women. Their competition went long, anyways. It was just so cool to see. Hey, you know what? I got to give this guy accolades because he helped me through, even though he's in the same competition as me. You're right. It is a beautiful family. There's this older guy in there, older gentleman who talked to everybody. And do you remember how old he is? Because I think you actually are interviewing him or already did.
Yeah, I've caught up with him in the last show last weekend, and he's 70, and I believe he had done 147 shows. And I will be having him on the podcast. I've got his information now. So
147 shows. Okay, so explain to me for the layperson who says, okay, so how many shows are in a year? How many possibly could you attend?
oh, it actually changes. Um, could you attend? Probably, oh man, depends if you stay in Alberta or not. Four. I mean, I know ones that have done four.
4.
Whether you do more or not, I'm not sure. But you think about it, if he started, not sure when he started, I will be finding that out. But I
So
mean,
if
even if you've been doing it for 50 years, like I can't imagine.
so let's do some math here. So 147, and if you did 4 shows a year,
Yeah, say yeah.
that's 36 years minimum he's been in it. 36, 37 years. Wow. And I mean he's 70, so and I know he's been bodybuilding longer than that. So oh my gosh. That's a lot. That's amazing. He was so friendly. And the reason I brought him up is because he was so friendly. He talked to everybody. And
Hmm.
he actually came up to me and he talked to you and he's like, how's it going? And he's just so positive. He was chatting with everybody about everything. It was just, how's your competition going? And good for you. And he was just this ball of light. I can't wait to hear his podcast interview. It would be amazing, I'm sure.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm excited for it.
Mhm. Also met a couple of amazing women they're doing the booth, but one of them was also as well doing her competition was that weekend, and just this bright, fiery gal, you can't miss her, and just the camaraderie. She instantly loved us, and I mean I know that's her nature, but now we're gonna connect with her. Oh, she's such a darling. You have her Insta handle, right? Let's shout out to her.
So it was Avril's Insta, which is Avril's Meal Prep.
Yeah, that's the one. Oh my gosh, you should see, you guys, you got to go on her Insta because it's full of, well, delicious food, which is not what we're talking about here right now, but she has it so good, and she'll do whatever you want. We totally just shouted out to her. I love that. Anyways, okay, switching topics again. Um, what's the difference between, or what do you find is the difference between male bodybuilding and female bodybuilding?
Uh, the price factor for sure for the female suits compared to the male trunks. Big difference there. The men, they get their tan done, and they also get like some of the makeup done to match their tan, their faces done. But as for the women, the time frame that they are getting prepped, if they are getting their hair done and they're getting their makeup done, plus their tan. Prior to that, they probably go get their nails done, and both, you know, toes, fingernails all blinged up, and the jewelry purchase as well. So cost wise, in getting ready to step on stage, it's more costly for the females. Other than that, I mean, the amount of intake food that the men get to have prior to the ladies is much more in some instances, depending where you're at. But I've seen them sitting there at the meeting with their juice jug full of rice, very envious of that. As I sit with my little container, eating my spoonfuls. So there's a lot of difference in that aspect of it, for just getting all your stuff that you need before stepping on stage.
There is, because women really bling up. You know what? I actually didn't realize that before, but they really do. They'll have the beautiful sparkly jewelry on, and the hair, the makeup. Okay, wait, I want to talk about the makeup. I'm totally digressing here. We were talking about ADHD earlier for me and you. Every entrepreneur has ADHD. That I'm declaring that now. But anyways, it's, yeah, I'm not a doctor. Your makeup, I know when I was in the competition, like visiting the competition with you, some ladies that came onto the podcast said, oh yeah, I had my makeup done at like 3 or 4 in the morning, 5 in the morning, and they're not going on until 2 or 3 in the afternoon. So, like, what does that entail? You just did a competition, so tell me about your experience.
I did. And my makeup was at 4 a.m. So I got up at just after 3 and went down there to get my makeup done. And then, yeah, I wasn't on till probably around 1 or so, but getting touched up.
Hold on. Okay, so let me, you got your makeup done at 4. You didn't go on until 1. That's a full day's worth of makeup. Oh my God. How do you, I wouldn't even have makeup on by then. It would all have worn off. And what are you doing in between? Like, oh my gosh. Okay. Sorry, I cut you off. Your turn.
So in between, you're laying around with your legs up, and while you also, then you get your hair done.
Right.
And you have your tan the night before, but you'll be getting touch-ups as well. So you get that done. And that includes like all the check-ins with your coach, because that usually starts at 5 a.m. is your first check-in. For me anyway, with my coach Ryan. And then yeah, and then you're going to get touched up to make sure everything's on point. So it feels just like layers. But I mean, I'm not one to wear a lot of makeup, so when you have it on, you look fantastic, but it's like you're happy to get it off at the end of the night. So yeah, it's a long day, but it's totally worth it, because that's what you've been working towards for months and months and months. So I am very excited to get on that stage. It was pointed out to me from one lady that I had interviewed as Cinderella.
Oh yeah.
So you're getting on stage and you feel like Cinderella, and then it's done. By midnight, it's all done. It's all off, removed, makeup, tans, everything, and you are showered. So there goes your hair. And I'm just like, well, that's a wrap. But it was a great analogy. I feel it was so true that it certainly does. You feel like Cinderella walking up on that stage. And then by midnight, it's over, and I'm looking for my next, now what? What's next?
Yes. Yeah. I like the Cinderella analogy. I guess it's similar to getting married for a woman, for getting married too, right? Like you're, if you plan the wedding a year in advance and it's all that work for that one day, and then you get to feel like the princess. And then I've never been married, so I don't know, but I would assume that's the case. Oh my gosh, that is so much work. So much work. So honestly, how much prep work? I'm going to go back here. How much prep work does it take? So if I was to get into competition right now, when would I be ready? How long would it take? What does that look like?
Everybody's different.
Mm-hmm.
So don't,
Typical coach answer, which is true. I'm not denying that.
are you talking like looking into going into a competition or looking into starting to get into bodybuilding and then get on stage, right?
Yeah, no,
So
let's talk about from start to finish. I want to be on stage. How soon could I get on stage?
once again, it depends where you're at.
Okay.
Like, but a prep time is usually, and you're as a coach, they'll let you know whether you when they figure and if you're ready, whatnot. But 16 to 20 weeks you could be for when your prep starts. That means you have a date or a show chosen, and you're going to start focusing a little more on dialing while you're dialing it in and getting yourself ready for stage. So your foods adjust, your exercise adjusts, everything adjusts compared to when you're off season and you're building, then you have more intake for your foods, building your muscles.
Okay, I like that. And so what about the newbies out there? What if they are just starting out, they know nothing? What does that look like? If like how do you get into it even? Where do you look?
Start talking. Like, if when I started, I didn't even know what I was getting into. I had never seen a competition. I knew no bodybuilders. I didn't even know where to look, so Google became my friend. And to find a coach is number one. Like, where do you look? So that is one of the reasons why I started this podcast, was to have a one-stop shop for looking up information, like what am I getting myself into, what's involved, everything from your coach to being committed and knowing the work that you have to put into it. It's a lot of work, and your social life's going to change because we just don't go out as often because it's easier when we are on our food restrictions to not be around it. So even family events sometimes are, I choose not to go to them. It's easier. But a lot of times too, I'll just take my food. I meal prep for the week. Makes it easy. Grab a container to go, and then I attend things and I have my food so that I don't go off track.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, looking for a coach is number one, and do your research. Very much so. Do your research. I've had more than one coach just because the first one wasn't a good fit. The second one, shout out to Ryan with Team Ignite. He's fabulous. And he's been with him for probably 5 years now, and it's been amazing. So yeah, just do your work, know what you're getting into, because it's a lot of work and a lot of time. So, and some just don't make it to stage.
Sure. Yeah, I understand.
So even making it onto stage is a huge accomplishment for
Mm-hmm.
sure.
How did you find I know this story already. How did you find your coach? Because you know what? Everybody I heard you interview in the podcast before has said coach is key. So how did you find your coach that you have now, Ryan?
I was at a show. I went to a show to see what was involved, because not knowing, I thought I should go to one, and so I could at least you know, have a little bit of knowledge what I have to do. And I noticed him walking by a few times, and I just thought I would stop him and ask if he was a coach. I wasn't sure if he was a coach or just a vendor or what he was. So he was a coach, and I was mentioned to him that I was struggling with my posing. So right then and there, he didn't know me, I didn't know him. He told me to stand up. He helped me through it. And then I found that amazing in itself. So I waited a little bit, and then I confronted him again and asked if he would take me on as a client. So he had me send in pictures to see, because I was 1 month out of my show. And yeah, he accepted me as a client, and it's been full force from there. But for him, because he had competitors at this show, so he was very busy. But to take those few seconds out to just help me on that moment, I found that was just amazing in itself.
I couldn't agree more. When you told me that story, I'm like, I would have hired him too. I would have stopped him in the nicest way possible. Because a coach always needs a coach. And I think, man, I think that's so amazing that he did take the time. So it just goes towards his character and how much I feel like he would take care of the people that he, you know, considering he didn't know you from Adam and he helped you in that. Imagine what he would do as with you as a client. So, and he has proven that to you. Like he has quite a few clients, but he produces A+, like #1 clients. Speaking of which, Miss Best Overall. And she has the crown to match it, you guys. Like, seriously, I should have asked you to wear your crown today. Oh, wait, she has it handy. Of course she does.
I'll wear it, but I can show you it because it's beautiful.
I love it. It's gorgeous. It's amazing. So let me just clarify. You got that for best overall, right?
Yeah, overall. Yeah, in my category. Correct.
And how do you get best overall? How does that work? So you have to win 1 competition, 2 competitions, 3 competitions, or like, I don't know.
In the open class there, if you take first on that one, then you end up with all the first place competitors on stage competing to win overall. So that's how it's done.
So not only do you have to win, so your own category personally, then you go against other amazing women in other categories, and then you have to be picked again.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I happen to know the weekend that you won it, and I mean you're back at me and you're like, oh my god, I won. You were so excited, and you're like, I even have my own crown. And I mean, technically you're not really a crown person by nature. You're more humble and more natural, but you wear that crown proudly.
Oh yeah, I was definitely my vibrate. I was over the moon for that, just over the moon, because that competition wasn't even planned. It was like I needed something, so I went to my coach and I went to Ryan and said, "What's out there? I just feel like I need to do another show." So he had recommended I could do this one, and yeah, who knew?
Who knew?
Right?
And I mean, you have racked up quite a few, and I call it iron behind you because it's women's they're women's statuettes for those of you that can't see, and they're just, I mean, they're gorgeous. So that's not what you always win. I happened to see when I was with you in the competition with TNT, they got medals, right? Like hardware, like around your neck medals. However, I saw one recently where they got swords. I would want a sword. Don't you want to? I know you and I talked. You don't want a sword. I would want a sword. So, is there difference? I mean, it's just appeal too. But what is there a difference between a sword versus, hey, I got a sword versus hardware versus medals?
The sword aspect, that's another overall. So instead of the tiara for the ladies, they had swords for everyone. So that's an overall. And placing is your trophies. And then the medals come with your kind of like your participation type of thing. Like, so you get that along. And then you also get another for your win as well.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I would want it all. I would want the crown. I would want the statue. I would want the medal. And I want that sword. Typical Aries. Go, go, go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So you talked earlier about your pro card. Can you, I don't know what that is. You and I've talked about it, but can you explain a little bit better? Like, you won all these things, so don't you just get a pro card?
No. No. You have
No,
to earn that too.
fair.
That's a whole other level again. So when you go to a pro card qualifier,
Okay.
so it's specific shows that you need to attend to allow you to go for your card. So at the show I was just at, placing top 3 allows you to go to a pro qualifier.
Got it. Which of course you did.
Yeah. So that's how you get into that competition.
Okay. I mean, you placed in the top 3, and on top of it, you had already pre-qualified before. You actually didn't need to place, right? Yeah. This one? Just to clarify, you had, and I might get this wrong, you had qualified earlier this year or last year, right?
Last year when I won the overall.
Okay.
So you have 12 months to partake into one of those shows. So if I exceeded those 12 months, I would have to go to another show and place to be able to go.
Got it.
You only have a 12-month time frame.
Okay. And you just thought you'd get, this last one, top 3 qualifier, just for fun, just to solidify that.
It's always good practice.
Good practice. Okay.
Right? Get rid of all the glitches and.
Got it.
Yeah.
Good. Good. And yeah, the jitters and all that other stuff too. I get it. Got it. Posing is hard. I've seen you guys pose, and I've seen, like, it looks hard. There's a big routine that goes around. Like, this is not easy.
Yeah, you're sweating up there. So in my last show, I really struggled with my posing. That's where my points, I lost a lot of points, just struggled with it. It was just a mind game for me. So I've definitely got it back on point. I've actually been doing hypnosis since I got back, and been nailing it. It's kind of that self-sabotage thing that happened last show. So I'm ready. That's done. That's over, and I'm moving forward, and it's working out much better for myself. So
let's talk about that.
I find hypnosis has helped me a lot.
Hypnosis is, so you use hypnosis. There's meditation as well. I want to talk about that because to me, mindset is everything. And it'll raise your vibration. It'll take you out. It'll bring you back in. Your mind will give up 100 times before your body does, before anybody's body does. So what was the shift? And I know you and I talk, like, and I kind of gave you a little elbow there saying, get back into hypnosis, I feel like we all have all these different beautiful modalities that we could draw from, tools in our tool belt, and yet we don't always use them. So what draws you back to hypnosis so much?
The success of it. I've used it during my preps to get that chocolate craving out of my mind, and that worked so well. And I used it for the competition where I got overall. I used it for the confidence and getting up on that stage. And so now I'm using it again to nail down my posing and my confidence. And even within a couple of days of listening to it, my posing has it's on point. It's on the right track. So I'm very excited for this.
I love it. And I'm with you 100%. Obviously, knowing the teacher of the clinical hypnosis, I'm 100% for it too. I think that there is, like I said, I think there's tons of different modalities out there, and whatever works for somebody else. However, I just feel like I love studying human behavior. I just feel like the hypnosis is the biggest key point that really stuck for me. And when you and I were talking about it before you even trained for hypnosis, same thing with you. You were like, oh, hypnosis, this was a big, huge key. So I love that. So what would you say to anybody else that's doing competitions? Of course, we're advocate for hypnosis. However, what would you say for them, like with regard to the mind game?
Uh, yeah, mindset's huge. So even getting a life coach
Yeah.
along with your bodybuilding coach, it's no different than the sports players. They get life coaches to power them through and get them through and have them on point with all their training.
Mhm.
So it all goes hand in hand, I feel,
It
in
does.
a
I
way.
agree. Yeah. In order to do anything better, I feel to have a coach, like it's one thing to, so when I was doing my triathlon, like I trained for a triathlon, same thing. I thought, oh, I don't need a coach. I could just do this on my own. What am I nuts? Of course, I had actually two coaches, and then I had a mindset coach for the mental game of it because I wanted to give up 100 times, and yet there's that aspect of what am I doing? Why am I giving up? Look at the other side of it. And again, coming back to the hypnosis too, same thing for me as well. So what do you find was your biggest challenge through all of this?
The foods, not so much the foods, but then, I mean, yeah, you get a cheat meal and you want to be smart about your cheat meal as well, because that has an effect on you as well. But I've fallen off the wagon. I've had my slice after slice of bread with coated with peanut butter, in the middle of the night. Just, you know, my mind once again taking over and not stopping. And right after I have it, I send a message to my coach saying, no need to reply, but this is what I just did. I find if I don't do that right away, then I won't do it because it'll be like um, all is forgotten by the morning. But a coach knows. I mean, he knows your next check in, what you do. So always accountable. That's why it's so good to have a coach as well. Being accountable is huge, and owning up to it is huge, because then you get the guilt that overcomes you and the stress. So as soon as it's done, it's over, nothing you can do about it now. Let's get back on track and let's just keep going and push through it. So, I mean, only human. And yeah, I've done it probably more than once. But I find it's getting easier the more uh, as the years go on and I stick to this. I find it's getting easier for me to just not bother. The hypnosis has done wonders with the chocolate. I don't even crave it anymore. Don't even care. It's out of my mind. And it's not as often that um, I have any urge to have anything off of my meal plan. It's very rare now compared to at the beginning where I just wanted it, and so I would make sure I'm either busy or leave the kitchen or go be active or whatnot. But in the middle of the night when you wake up, you really have no place to go. So yeah, it would be the fridge. And then I would fess up and move on.
And move on.
Yeah.
I'm always in awe of, well, I mean, of your arms and your whole entire physique. I love it. And same thing with when I saw the bodybuilding competition and everybody in there, or just in general and people in public. I look and I'm going, oh my gosh, they need to eat you know, like they need to eat a piece of cheesecake or something. But you guys do, like, let's be honest, you like, and I'm not just saying you, but in general, you guys do eat offside sometimes too. Like it's not pure chicken and rice and vegetables. You do have, I mean, you still have fun.
Sometimes depends what point of where we're at in our state. If we're on prep,
Of course, of course.
no. But off season, we're out. Yeah, if you like dessert, we'll have it.
Mm-hmm. That's what I
Well,
mean.
I will.
Yeah,
But
that's what I mean about being human is I think we tend to, at least I do, tend to classify like bodybuilding as, I don't put people on pedestals or on different levels, but you guys are actually on a different level because it is determination, it is self-discipline. I'm in awe of it for the discipline that comes into that. I love human behavior and I love the aspect of how much time and effort that goes into it. And again, the discipline, I can't stress that enough. It's super important. The the really cool thing about how people get there is just like your story, is the aspect of they had to go through sometimes rock bottom. They had to go like, and I had the um honor of listening to some of the stories, and you have a ton of podcasts out already, and
yeah.
the stories break my heart. Like, they're just, people do, they are, everybody's human. They come from, but one of them I remember saying, bodybuilding saved me, and the community saved me. Like I was on death's door. I didn't want to be there, didn't want to be here, want to check out. I went through a divorce. It was awful. I was, some of the other people were bulimic and anorexic, and then found this. It just, the stories are crazy. One was full military, and then we love him. Shout out to Nick. Now, I love the discipline of it. So let's flip the switch just one more time here. And I think we're running out of time anyways. Judging. There is, do you think at some point in time you'll become a judge?
No.
How come? Tell me.
I don't know. Number one, I've never thought of it. And it just doesn't interest me. I don't think. I don't know. Now that you've put that seed in my head.
I'm good at that. I think you'd be really good at it because your attention to detail is really accurate. And I think maybe it's just the next run. I mean, I know you're just not just, you're going for your pro card right now. And so that's your main focus. However, and you've met him before, but I have not. I had the opportunity to meet one of the judges, and what a great personality. And also has very diverse skill sets. Like he's a judge, yes, he's a competitor, yes, and he has a honey farm, which is really cool. I just think
Well, he started with bees. Yep.
it started with bees,
and has some bees now. Yep.
and he's super outgoing, gregarious person. It just reminded me of you meeting him and getting to chat with him, and how wonderful and amazing and fun he was. And he knows everybody. And I thought it would be, I'm like, I think Sherrie'd be good at this. I think it'd be really cool for her to do it. A couple years down the road after the pro card. I'm just throwing it out there. And it'll get you to continue your tours.
I will be interviewing him, like judges as well, for getting their input.
Yeah.
I find it will be really interesting, and just all about the judging side of it, right? The other side of the table,
which
will
is
be interesting.
Huge. Because I mean, I'm going to say all, I might be wrong, but all judges were competitors at some point, right?
I believe so. I think they have all competed.
I mean, that would make more sense. They see the most
Yeah.
detail, for sure. I love it. All right. One last question. Do you have anything else that I missed that you would love to share with everybody else?
Nothing that you missed, I don't believe. I'd like to challenge everyone to just step outside their comfort zone and just making a goal a reality. I mean, I could help them, make their goal a reality. It's amazing what's out there for you when you step outside your comfort zone, and what you're capable of is, for me, was overwhelming. It was just astonishing. Like I say, I've done a 360 and I'm still growing, and I'm always challenging myself to step outside my comfort zone. And the growth that people can accomplish, like just breakthroughs, and take that first step and give it a try. You will amaze yourself of where you'll get to by doing that.
And how fast. I'm totally plugging you because some of your clients have done miraculous 360s just like you have. So shout out to some of your coaching clients and your hypnosis clients and where they've come. I've had the opportunity and honor to watch you grow into being an amazing coach as well. So kudos to you for that. Thank you so much. And it's been my huge honor to be able to interview you. I know we talked, here's how it went down, everybody that were curious. I was at the competition with her and I was hearing all these amazing stories, and I happen to know Sherrie's story and all the trials and tribulations that go along with it, the height, the triumphs and all that kind of stuff. So I said, oh my gosh, you have to tell your story, because I mean, you're literally on death's door and now you wear a crown. And the sky's the limit. It's opened up for you in so many different ways. So thank you so much for honoring me by letting me interview you. And I honestly feel the sky's the limit for you. I truly do. And I cannot wait to see what's next, because you're just knocking out all kinds of different things. So thank you, bottom of my heart.
Thank you. It's been fun. It was great. I want to thank my guest today and my listeners for joining me at Beyond the Prep. If you like this episode and want to make sure you don't miss any others, please subscribe. You can also find us on YouTube.